The first Black Ops 6 Zombies update for 2025 just dropped, and within it, Treyarch have buffed the elemental swords in Citadel Day more, but they've also nerfed a ton of really cool things, including certain speedrun tactics, as well as one of the swords that was a lot better than the others, as well as nerfing some of the ammo mods. It's both a W and an L, so let's just dive right into the patch notes. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Today is the very first update for Black Ops 6 Zombies for 2025. Treyarch have just dropped a massive amount of Zombies patch notes for us in this new update. I'm going to break it all down for you guys so you know exactly what's changed, and we're going to be diving in very shortly on live stream as well, going through the new Squid Game event and also showing all of these changes. So once you're done watching this video, make sure you check out the stream. I'll have it linked in the description. But here we go. So one of the biggest parts and changes was that the swords were going to get significant buffs. So all swords now hit up to 2 enemies per swing. The additional hit will do damage based on distance. This is a very good change because there is no way these wonder weapons shouldn't have been able to take down multiple zombies in one swing. I'm kind of surprised it's only up to 2 enemies per swing. I'd love to know in the comments below if you think that is like a good enough change. I'm like happy it's a thing, but I kind of feel like the sword should still take down more than 2. I don't know. That might just be me. But I'm happy that they've done that now. Additional hit damage is 100% at close to medium distance and 50% beyond that. Players can now parry amalgam grabs of elemental swords. That's really good, although I felt like you always could, but maybe that means parrying them from even happening, which is really good. And address an issue where sword damage could be decreased when using the Void Chief Augment, the Ether Shroud. That's very interesting. Definitely not something that should have been a thing to begin with, but look, they have gone ahead and buffed every single sword individually. So if we go down here, Balmung. So this is the Raven Sword. The ability procs more frequently while charged. Reduce the required kills from 40 to 25. That's huge. Decrease the cooldown from 20 to 10, and slightly lower the chance to activate the passive effects to account for the decreased cooldown between activations. That's very, very good because yeah, 40 kills is a lot. Some of the swords were only 25, some were 35, and then this one was 40. So Durandal, increase the special attack damage, increase the electric beam special attack damage per tick from 40 to 65% of base zombie health. This is really good because this is the Stag, the lightning sword, and it was really, really bad, that ultimate. So that's a lot better now. Ability now procs more frequently while charged. Decrease the cooldown from 25 to 3 seconds. That's a significant decrease. Holy moly, that's pretty good. Slightly lower the chance to activate the passive effects to account for the decreased cooldown between activations, and address an issue where Durandal's charged attack would not be visible to other players. Interesting. All right, moving on to Caliburn, which is the dragon. Adjusted to activate napalm burst augments when the sword procs, similar to Balmung and Durandal. Okay, so very small changes there, but that's good. And then Solace, which is the lion sword, arguably the best. They have slightly changed some stuff in a negative way. Slightly reduced effectiveness of armor regeneration ability. No! I didn't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't think anyone else thought there's anything wrong with it. So what does that exactly mean? We'll have to jump in and test. Slightly reduce the effectiveness of the armor regen ability, probably meaning that once you have it, maybe it doesn't regen every time, but most of the time. I thought that was fine, but never mind. Slightly increase the swing interrupt time for sword swing and lowered the armor regeneration percentage from 5% to 4% per swing. So that means that it will take a little more swings for you to regenerate all your armor back than before. Not too sure on those changes. Let me know your thoughts down below. Most of them positive, but the lion, obviously it was the best sword. Maybe they were just trying to balance it a little bit more, but I don't know if that was necessarily needed there on the lion sword, but we're going to have to jump in game and really test and find that out. But main quest, there's quite a few bugs with this main quest that I've not personally ran into, but I know a ton of you have had issue, and hopefully I mean, wow, there are a lot of changes here. So they've addressed an issue where players could sometimes be unable to pick up the lightning rod depending on where it dropped. That's a bug that I actually had, and I had to save and quit in order for the chance for it to drop again and actually pick it up. So thank God that's been fixed. The lightning rod zombie will now return to the dungeon if there are no players nearby. Address an issue where activating the timeout gobblegum to progress around during the main quest boss fight would respawn eliminated players in a starting area and down them. That's not good at all. I'm glad that's fixed. Players will now respawn in the boss fight arena. That's pretty good. Address an issue where special round effects would not disable when entering the main quest boss fight. Adjusted deadshot ADS placement to be more accurate against the main quest boss. Didn't even feel that was a thing, but that's massive. Address an issue where Craft could speak to the player before interacting with him in the dungeon. That's hilarious. Address an issue where saving and quitting in a solo match before speaking to Craft would prevent main quest progression after loading the save. That's a pretty big bug. Address an issue where the light ritual mirrors could not be interacted with after a player joins in progress. Address an issue where wisps in the light challenge for the mystic orb would freeze visually but still count towards completion. Address an issue where the mystic orb would not be visible to players joining in progress after the night ceremony. Address an issue where main quest progress was not saved when picking up the mystic orb after the night ceremony and saving and quitting in a solo match. That's pretty good. Address an issue where the Durandal sword would be floating upon loading into a save solo match. I'm interested if any of these include where the mystic orb is like floating in the air there once you've done all 4 of the nights and you can't pick it up, because I had that issue once. Let's see. Address an issue where melee weapons would not be able to open one of the locks on the Pack-a-Punch container. Close and exploit players could take no damage and be unable to move when failing the Sanctuary Time challenge. I don't even know what that is. Address some instances where a specific set of interactions could lead to blank objective tech. Interesting. Address an issue where the blood Ethereum crystal could get stuck in a non-playable area. That's a pretty big issue. And address some issues with visual effects spawning in non-intended locations. So I think that might mean during the fire sword, there's like a weird fiery orb that spawns a lot. And a lot of us thought that could be an Easter egg step or just something. But this says that could be a visual effect spawning in non-intended locations. So I'm assuming that was just a visual bug. It's a very strange one. And updated the model for the Mystic Orb. That's very interesting. And then Terminus. They've actually fixed some stuff on a different map, which is good. To address an issue where players respawned by progressing around during the main quest boss fight, the time at Gobblegum would be unable to see the boss's health bar. I mean, that's pretty bad. Address an issue where the workshop lockdown main quest step would end early by placing a shock charge after... What? Wait, they've just completely nerfed the speedrun tactic. Wait, but they're calling that an issue. Address an issue where the workshop lockdown main quest step would end early by placing a shock charge after starting. But I don't understand why that's an issue. Like, it's such a small, minute thing that people would use to speedrun and skip like 1 to 2 minutes of the Easter egg. I don't understand why Treyarch felt the need to fix that. Like, it's harmless and probably less than 1% of the player base would even know that's a thing. Apparently to them, that was an issue. And it's like something where most of those patch notes that we've read, it doesn't sound like they fixed any speed run tactics on Citadel Daymore, but they don't normally like make it very clear in these patch notes if they have or not. At least I'll give them credit that they have been very clear with that one for Terminus, but I don't understand why they had to do that. Like, it was absolutely harmless. And a lot of people are worried that the step where you got to, you know, pick up the 4 pages and you got to match the symbols in the pub, you can completely skip that. We're hoping that Treyarch haven't changed it with this update where you have to do that. They've not specified it in this, and they've also fixed the speed boost option now probably functioning during the boat race side quest. So that's interesting that it didn't work before. And obviously, they've got new modes in Zombies that will be streaming very, very shortly, if not already. So once you're done finished with this video, go ahead, click the box that's appearing or click the description. But we've got Deadlight Greenlight, which is the new LTM for Squid Game, where there is literally the young he doll from Squid Game that will be in every part of the map, and there will be different phases where during green light you gain bonus essence by, you know, taking down the undead, playing as you normally would, and then once red light's called, essence is drained from any player that moves, so you got to either spend all your points before or literally stand still on the spot in order to avoid losing point. And there's also a dreaded deadlight phase where it will be a tough fight as a meaner wave of enemies approach. And interesting, it's available only in Citadel for the first week, with Liberty Falls being added next week. So I guess that's kind of interesting. And then in retaliation to all of the bugs with the Easter egg quest for Citadel, they've now added directed mode in for Citadel Daymore today, but they've extended the deadline to earn the main quest early completion rewards until the end of season 1 because there's been so many bugs. So even though directed mode is now available, you can still play the normal version and get those early completion rewards. So if you haven't done the Easter egg yet, you've really been struggling, go ahead and learn it with directed mode and then jump into the normal version, complete it, you'll still get the early completion rewards, which is really cool because a lot of people were really yearning for Treyarch to do that, and they've actually listened and done that, which is really cool. And wait a minute, extended the time between rounds and the delay between spawning zombies after 5 looped rounds at the round cap in directed mode. So it sounds like they're trying to combat people that are potentially using it for camo grinding. They've slightly changed how the directed mode works, where there's now more time between rounds and a delay between spawning zombies. So I guess if you are like, I don't know, doing some sort of AFK glitch or something, that's going to slow it down dramatically, which is very interesting. And then the training course, they've addressed an issue. I mean, no one's playing the training course, let's be honest. Oh, weapons. Address an issue where players would lose the ability to equip a second weapon if the weapon cycle setting was enabled. And then Gobblegums. Oh, address an issue that left the player vulnerable briefly while teleporting from anywhere but here or no, but there. Yeah, that's a really bad bug where like literally as you're popping it, you could go down, but you should be like invincible during that. So that's really good. And ammo mods. Oh, so they've changed Big Game for Shadow Rift. Big Game will no longer deal lethal damage to elite enemies. Wait a minute, what? Big Game will no longer deal lethal damage to elite enemies. I don't know if that's a necessary change, a good change. Is that necessary? Let me know in the comments. I'm kind of confused by that because Big Game lets you use the ammo mod on elites, but now this will no longer deal lethal damage. So does that mean using Big Game Shadow Rift, elite enemies will no longer drop from the sky and like just go boom, one shot because of it? We might need to test that. If that's true and they've changed it so it doesn't work like that anymore, that's going to be a real shame because that was genuinely extremely useful. For field upgrades, Ether Shroud, they've changed Void Sheath, addressed an issue where melee weapon damage would not be increased. That's really good because, yeah, if you're using Void Sheath, especially if you have a sword on Citadel and suddenly the sword is nowhere near as strong as it normally is, it's kind of a big issue. So appreciate that fix. And then Score Streaks, address an issue where Mangler Cannon effects should be stuck on the screen after the Score Streak has ended. Chopper Gunner, just an issue where the gun from the Chopper Gunner could be used after the Score Streak has ended. So that was a pretty popular trick that people were using over the holiday period, where they could AFK and basically just sit in a corner and shoot like the Chopper Gunner gun in their hands infinitely. So you can no longer do that. Surprised it took them this long to fix, to be honest. A Sentry Gun, address an issue that prevented Sentry from being placed after using the Baomeng charged ability. Sounds like a very like unique situation, but hey, glad they fixed that. Fire Sale, just an issue where rarely Fire Sale would leave an extra mystery box on the map. Interesting. Oh, so they've changed some enemies here. So Doppelgas, address an issue where the needle blast from a Doppelgas affected by brain rot could harm the player. That makes sense. And Vermin, address an issue where Vermin could sometimes hit twice with one attack. Maybe that's why I've always been like really red screened by Vermin on Citadel Daymore, because of that. And activities, split screen, just an issue where zombies would sometimes ignore the host player. That's pretty bad. Oh, challenges. Okay, wow, we've got lots of fixes here. Hopefully some of the dark ops have been fixed as well. So camo challenges, they've addressed an issue where Pack-a-Punch GS45s will not progress. The Siamese camo after military camo progression was complete. They've addressed an issue where the drink through Coca-Cola's daily challenge would not progress. And then calling cards for Prestige 3, addressed an issue where the explosive surprise calling card was not tracking properly. Then Prestige 8, close call, they've updated this challenge to count kills from teleporting with the anywhere but here Gobblegum, and also include no but there Gobblegums. Addressed issues that prevented the following challenges from tracking properly: Trophy Hunter Madness, Prestige 6 Gullible, Prestige 7 Old Faithful, and Prestige 10 Stupefy. So if you have any issues with those, hopefully they should be fixed now. And as far as zombies, that looks like that is all she wrote. Quite a lot of changes, to be honest. Let's see, was there any like general global fixes? So they've increased all mantle speeds. Doors can now be opened and closed while sprinting. That's more of a multiplayer thing. There's some stuff where there's brand new melee weapon that's added, and then just some stuff with the UI that's changed, but some pretty significant stuff there for zombies. It'll be interesting to see just how much has changed with these swords. I will be testing them very, very shortly. So again, be sure to watch the live stream that's linked down below. But I'd love to know your thoughts on all these changes. Did you expect more? Did you expect less? Are you happy with what's been changed? I'd love to know all your thoughts. And of course, we just need a bit more time with this update so we can really see how different these swords are. But thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Drop a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you for another one soon.